Hello and welcome everyone to Do It Live Autonomy Podcast Season 6 Week 8. We are currently Week 8. Hello everyone and welcome. We have a couple of people here in the Zoom call, which is great. Great people. Welcome everyone. I want to bring your attention into a different couple of ideas that are out there, and maybe with some help for freedom-minded people and their families and friends to build oneself stronger and even thrive when majority of population is forced to obey and participate in Fourth Reich that is lurking on our freedom. So first I wanted to start with some part of the lecture that we had last evening. So I invite you everyone to listen a little bit about what we are learning and teaching ourselves in autonomy. So we will start with Richard's. I will share a screen. Here we have it. And let me do it on my 12-year-old computer. By the way, I forget to introduce myself. My name is Marcin, and I'm season 5 graduate. I did like sneak through the whole course, so I jumped into the season 6 to participate fully, drive and take more of the insights that this course is able to provide us, this enormous value that we have here, this opportunity to meet people, to practice with people in dojo environment, when we basically are free to make mistakes. It's an environment where we can practice, fail, and learn with some coaching, with some feedback from other people. So it is a very, very nice idea. So let's start with something about scarcity.
The point is, the skill set can be handed off rapidly. So once someone figures out how to use the keys and unlock the door, it's easy that the other prisoners can do likewise. And that's another reason to do role play exercises in the dojos consistently, because you're basically helping each other to break out of your own cells of scarcity. This is a quote from the hero of the Ayn Rand novel Atlas Shrugged. His name's John Galt. He's a man of integrity and very high standards and values, and would not compromise them like many of Ayn Rand's fictional characters. This is a short passage from his 60-page monologue in that book. It says, "I swear by my life and my love of it that I will never live for the sake of another man, nor ask another man to live for mine." Meaning that people should mind their own business and let other people who aren't infringing on your freedom do as they please and get their stuff done in life. So he's not asking other people to sacrifice for him, nor is he asking other people to sacrifice, right? He's not asking other people to sacrifice for him, nor is he willing to sacrifice himself for them. That's what I was trying to get across there. That concept comes from not an extreme self-reliance, but a very well polished and refined position of mental autonomy and self-reliance, and the unwillingness to compromise your higher values to preserve lower values. So that's one of the concepts that was behind the creation of this course. And by the way, surprise, today's the 3rd anniversary of this course. 3 years ago today, on November 19th, I sent an offer out to my audience. And I thought if I had 10 people interested in this course, it would probably be enough to put it on and to go through the work of doing the presentations and whatnot. And we had an overwhelming response. And then we did it again and again and again. And that's how we got to season 6. Now we're ramping up for season 7. And the skills being taught in this course are only getting more valuable, more necessary in the world, more scarce and rare, and therefore more appreciated in the market. And we have so many people coming to us for services that, you know, we've had a consulting company and we've barely done any type of advertising or marketing, even though that's what we specialize in helping clients with, because we have so many people in need. And we only have so many people thus far to be able to satiate those needs. So we oftentimes have a waiting list and these sort of things. So this course is leading to not just empowered individuals, but empowering the other influencers and kind of VIPs in the freedom community who have large audiences of people who also need these skills. This is how we're going to build a culture of.
Thanks to the Richard, we have this opportunity to do exactly that. And what else we can do if not to take the full responsibility for our actions? And if we see the opportunity that we can add value, do just that. Doing just that is something that is meaningful, in my opinion, anyway. I will like to hear your thoughts on that, so save them for the next part of this Do It Live podcast. Just after I will try and maybe introduce you some other ideas that are out there. I wanted to introduce you some of the work of men who is, in my opinion, a little bit misunderstood. He said he got this censorship issue on his lectures, on things that he tries to teach the world. So basically, he's a teacher. He have some ideas of aliens. He believes in aliens, and taking that aside a little bit, because yeah, no one needs to share that idea. I'm wondering. I don't know. I didn't met, to my knowledge, any alien in my life. But the work of this man, who is what I think Australian, and it's older age, probably around 70 years old, and his work is about golden mean and golden ratio. He is a electric engineer, and for last 30 years he's tried teaching people to he's trying to put the message of his work, his formula that he discovered out there into the world. And he's making statement about propulsion. He's working on subjects of Nikola Tesla. He's working on subject of Einstein a little bit. he's also pointing where Einstein or Tesla was wrong. He, if I get that right, he was working with Buckminster Fuller. So I specifically was interested in this man whose name is Dan Winter by looking into the subject of free energy. Yeah? There is this group of people around there in the world who build laboratories where they are trying to develop kind of new energy systems that will not need a coal or fossil fuels to be there, but it's like some of it is a pipe dream, some of it is working with frequencies to like really tap into energy, for example, from hydrogen. So there is a lot of going on, and I think it is useful to present this person and to maybe start a conversation inside of freedom communities to take responsibility for our own energy. For example, in Europe, in many countries, I can say specific about Poland, there is this law that if you want to build a house, you need to have this architectural project, and to get your permission from the state to be able to build your house, you need to have already power electricity, like cables connected to your land. So the state is forcing us to, when we want to build our homes, to be dependent on their energy system. So the idea of Tesla, they say, there is this legend that they say, I wasn't able to find like real quotes because from what I know, work of Tesla was taken after his death. But anyway, I think it will be useful for people to have their own energy system, to be independent, and to really try from different levels of Maslow hierarchy of needs. Like we can probably try and success implement our own developments, our own independent from the state ways to have our good lives. And some people are saying and putting the wisdom and knowledge about how to grow food, how can you do it, which is very important. And the idea of parallel societies and the idea of landing into the parallel societies, like taking this step back from the society that was like a big train when the printed money, like a coal, was put inside of the engine, and it went from the first industrial revolution, and people on board didn't look back. And we here, I think we are in the place where we can see how the system is structured to, and maybe take back a little bit from that, like leave the train, let it go, and build our own, of course, step by step, slowly, not rushing anything. And we can then take and present, make maybe a book or some physical medium that we can pass on to next generation, like a really useful thing where we can have knowledge. So also the technological thing, the media, technology, education system, our self-defense, and our health is something that we need to take care, because for last decades we dependent on the whole society was dependent on the system that in those areas was infringing people's freedom and taking advantage and program people and structure them to behave in particular way that is useful for few here on earth. So what we can do here now, despite of presenting that knowledge, the implementing it part, it's sometimes nice. For many people, it is hard at some point when they want to start the change in their life, and they are really going into the right direction. I can see the trend that on the path on the righteous path, there are many obstacles, and sometimes people are not prepared. I can remember some questions from last night Q&A, and it is really painful for people to have those experiences, and also for another people it's heartbreaking sometimes when you see people suffering. And we really want to take care of our neighbor. Like there are teachings from ancient culture, from Europe, Eastern Europe, where we live. I can see Ludwio right here, who presented me a guy named Treble. I won't spell it right, but this teacher, this wise person, and person who got his knowledge through the lineage of word and speak teachings from generation to generation. And Slavic people was able to some degree excuse me, to preserve the knowledge how they run societies before they were invaded, before there was some influence on their land, when they were in not so big groups. They were able to take care for themselves, for their families, and for their neighbors. And there was really wise concept that he made, that was you don't buy your house, you buy your neighbors. And that is some idea I wanted to put out there. And going back to the energy system, so I wanted to present you a little bit of speech of Dan Winter. Maybe it will be possible on my old laptop. So I will jump into the screen share. And here. Let's see if we can get some of it.
Now, Tesla's mistakes, for example, when he wanted his energy at a distance, he got the frequency signature wrong. in phase conjugate, and he got the nodal locations wrong for longitudinal interferometry. So obviously he didn't achieve efficient power without wires, as in fact the pyramid builders did very well. They were piezo oscillators embedded by the Schumann phase conjugate cascade, piezoelectrically embedding longitudinal waves into the longitudinal grid. So the pyramids were a very useful global power distribution system. They did what Tesla failed. This is just another picture we talked about. We wanted to talk about, now we're getting closer to some of the physics that Roger wanted me to talk about, maybe, which was, how the mercury.
Will it get started?
Mercury vortex of the Vimana, as Roger mentioned in the intro, made gravity. So here is, visualize this as Schauberger's piezoelectrically doped water vortex about to make voltage from gravity, and it generated so much power Hitler wrote him a check. The difference in voltage between the outer periphery and the center of that vortex is both the 0-point source of the perfect vortex and the source of gravity. So now if you understood this, you could know how the Mercury vortex of the Honolulu made gravity, accelerating faster than speed of light. So basically what's happening, first of all, this didn't work if it wasn't piezoelectrically doped, as any biodynamic vortex dynamizer could tell you. But the difference in voltage potential here is centripetal and here is centrifugal, and that is the literal electric difference between plus and minus charge. So the reason this generates a voltage difference is because this vortex, piezoelectric, is collapsing in an accurate trajectory based on recursion phase conjugation perfected. Therefore, we can predict by equations the dimensions of that vortex, the speed of that vortex, the center point. All of that is predictable by equations to optimize the amount of 0-point energy you will get and the amount of gravity you will get. So this is, again, about the relationship between the rotational and linear spin. And this is some of the slides we used in Amsterdam. But this is instructive here that when, harking back to the previous lecture on hydrogen, the Joe cell uses concentric tubes, implosive capacitance, and we now know how to tune that to do hydrolysis, tickle the fractal hydrogen atom. But there is a clue to energy technologies and gravity technologies. This is actually important for what we want to talk about. This is Keshe rather incompetently making gravity by rotating a conjugator. Inside the rotating ping pong balls here is a nanomaterial, and it's not of sufficient purity to make gravity efficiently. Keshe, I don't think, has the skill. Our group could make the 99% pure needed. But rotating conjugators, we can predict the speed, the velocity, and the geometry. And the optimum geometry is not a sphere, by the way. But he did make some gravity. And to understand how a rotating conjugator makes gravity is part of the subject of the rest of this conversation, because that is a clue. We will use the rotating conjugator metaphor for gravity maker when we look at Koski-Frost and the Hanabu. So this is more pictures of the Hanabu. The concentric rotating toroid mercury doped with iron, the famous red fluid, is the mechanism of propulsion. And understand how it's actually a highly pressurized, voltage biased mercury vortex, which is spinning. They have a concentric cylinder spinning the mercury vortex. And you see the mercury has the inertial translation vorticity, but you need the doped iron making it red. There's a special secret sauce which makes the iron powder soluble in mercury. And that gives it the magnetic flux permissivity, which allows you to have the magnetic flux inertia translating vorticity in parallel to the mechanical massive flux translation vorticity in the mass of the mercury. So you need both the magnetic density from the iron powder and the mercury. And I must credit Bill Donovan and Elizabeth Donovan on some of this conversation. So once you understand how a vortex makes gravity, you can very quickly know how the Hanabu worked. In the case of Searle, the rotating magnets are just creating a very high DC bias voltage, which is applied to the skin. The big argument here, why it fluid, can that propagating ion geometry exist in the vacuum? Some of the skeptics say no, we say yes. This is the homopolar Bruce De Palma's end machine. I knew Bruce very well, and I worked with Tom Valone on this for many years. It's not directly part of this conversation, but that's an example of a magnetic monopole rotating. Notice when Lead Scalman did it, he uses 12 magnets in that rotating array. Hint, hint, clue, clue. What is phase conjugate magnetics and why does it make gravity? Elizabeth Rauscher thanked me for inventing phase conjugate magnetics when I actually predicted the equation for what magnetic frequencies she used to reduce pain. So implosive magnetics and gravity, many pictures. And here in the base picture, there are many pictures you can find by research, but of the Hanabu. But at the bottom, it's actually two alternately rotating, opposite rotating cylinders, which are spinning the mercury vortex in that particular. And then it's highly pressurized, and it is highly DC bias volt. And if you understood the physics, you see, it is a top military secret how a vortex makes gravity, but you can't understand how your mind works unless you know how a vortex makes gravity, which is how it gets centripetal. So yes, it's a military secret that a vortex makes gravity. Oh, by the way, you can't understand the mind unless you know that military secret, because your mind is the same kind of vortex.
Choosing compassion carefully aligns the magnetic field donuts around the heart so that nest donut.
So just to visualize that, and
I
why
wanted
it's holy
to share.
I'm sure
Let me
everyone
stop
here
that.
has seen our favorite movies before.
Loading. Okay, so that was some of the work of Dan Winter, which I find it interesting. I'm not in the position when I could say that I understand all of it, but with some study and some dictionary, I sometimes am able to get the gist. I find it interesting, and I was able to reach Dan Winter and present him my idea that I wanted to present his work more broadly. I did use the opportunity that I am here in Autonomy, and I said that I am Autonomy student, season 6, week 6. I wrote to him, and he responded to me. So he's happy to have some presentation, and I wanted to put it out there. If anyone is interested, let me know. Fractalfield.com. He asked me to present those information. Maybe there will be some possibility to put this into the, I hope there will be possibility to put it into the calendar and have some questions for Dan, pick his brain, see who is he. And for me, this also having you, community of Autonomy here, maybe I'm getting the point wrong. Maybe it will be useful to like show that this man is like what they say, like influencing people into bad ideas. Maybe that is the case. I want to investigate that. I want to see if his information and his knowledge is real and substantial, and or learn that it isn't. So I want to invite you all to maybe explore that idea a little bit more with me, and maybe here in Autonomy I will be happy to see that seed flourishing. Then I wanted to jump to other ideas for freedom-minded people to thrive and grow. We got the from Freedom Cells, from Derek Brose and Josh Bush. We got introduction to Foster Gamble. I saw his first movie, Thrive, a couple of years after the movie went public, and I was very interested. And he also spoke about different devices that will be able to produce energy from 0 point gravity. And I really wanted to reach them maybe with this message, because I know there are groups of people and they have connection to them, which maybe are working on this kind of projects. Maybe they don't know the work of others who are out there. So facilitating the environment to freely share knowledge, to freely share experiences, and like starting the worldwide debate of independent scientists and inventors to bring us about things that will help us in soft landing from these corrupted societies into someday, maybe a decades into the future, into the parallel old-fashioned way societies that will help us and will be structured in the way to help us thrive and survive and thrive. And the other thing that is very useful, in my opinion, to go with that is use of hemp, industrial hemp. I was studying this subject many years ago when European Union announced that there will be grants for farmers to produce hemp, and many people jumped into that, but there was a gap in knowledge between old ways to produce, and there was this niche in the market for hemp. People started to use hempcrete, to use hemp for producing gasoline, ethanol, with the distillation and fermentation. And hemp is really useful plant. It will take the pollution from the ground, so we can plant it into the polluted places, like help ourselves and our earth clean itself. And we have in Autonomy someone who is presenting his idea about and his concept, which is great concept. It's ringing to me on Autonomy Toasters, which is 2 hours before Sunday Q&A. Autonomy Toasters from a group trying to and individuals trying to step up their game into the public speaking and polish their skill of public speaking. It went for last couple of weeks into a discussion club kind of thing, but it's going back with the structure. So Bobby is presenting his idea on Sunday, and I will try to play a little bit. I hope Bobby will not be pissed on me because I did record some what he and I discussed, and I have a little bit of him saying what his idea is. So I will let him speak now. So first, initial coin offering, you can have, I lost it. So yeah, I would really like to share it with you, but this is me and my inability to find it right away. But I did discuss with Bobby, so maybe if I can maybe if I can share my understanding of his idea. So his idea is taking this industrial hemp and providing this soft landing for society. Like he developed, he got really big picture how we can use industrial hemp in different parts of industry, health, construction, etc. And how what is magic about that. So I wanted to play you the part that Bobby is describing the concept of Shambhala, which is the story of from Tibetan Buddhism. The Shambhala was the point when a person would like cross through the mandala into the Shambhala was basically idea of enlightened society and how it would operate and how it would be. And Chogam Trungpa, Rinpoche Chogam Trungpa, presented that idea in 70s, which Bobby was 10, 12 years old when his parents brought him into this community of Chogam Trungpa. And this is something that is big work of Bobby, this concept of taking industrial hemp, taking idea of Shambhala and the principles, how enlightened society would operate, and he's connecting it to the new digital assets by cryptocurrency. That is the idea. And also taking big notice on the question will be why, because Bobby has really good understanding of how the new world order is presenting itself, and what is the good way for us to make it the old system obsolete by make it our own. So that was my ideas for us. And also I was a little bit encouraged to bring also different topics. Many of people know the work of Wim Hof, which is great. I study a little bit of Wim Hof work, and what is he saying, and I really get that by experience, is you can meditate for years, like going into the deep meditation, and having the Wim Hof method really gives you deep meditation right away. Like he found a way to have this big and fast, really strong experience of deep meditation, which for some people is triggering laughter, for some people is triggering tears and cry. It's really like pressing from inside outside all those feelings that people can have and dig deep inside of them. So that is really useful technique. And I also wanted to share with the technique from also Buddhist teachings that is very useful and very simple, and maybe two. One would be Yoga Nidra. There are many YouTube videos, guided meditations, how to do a Yoga Nidra, which is very deep and useful technique, method to gain peace in mind, peace in body. And the other technique would be 9 cleansing breaths. That is also Buddhist concept of specific movements to cleanse oneself in quick manner. So the knowledge is out there. There are many ways, ideas of how people are doing. There is this big censorship, but there are more free people than censors. The people out there, like normal people, workers, employers, normal people who doesn't want to get bothered by anyone. They understand how the world is working. I speak with a lot of people here in Polish community in my village, and I can say that people are having this understanding, like they are messing with us with this corona and things like this. So they know they want to be free, and they are speaking out, they are connecting. So that is like light of optimism that I can see, that there is not all of things is lost. So I would like now to ask a question and open this room for conversation about what are good ways for us to evolve and thrive in this ever-changing world. What are your ways? What do you know that are working? What you want to try? What do you hesitate to do? Or anything that you would like to share with us? Hello, Rob.
What's going on, Marcin? How you doing today?
Yes, I'm triggering complexity once more, trying to add a little bit of me here and hear you out.
Okay. Well, I think one of the good things we can do is organize locally with all the people, try to flesh out who has the same kind of ideals for freedom, and work together outside of the system, because I think a counter economy is one of the things that we really need to develop to sustain us all. I think more and more people will start coming around to how the manipulation of the public is being done with the propaganda and just outright lies that they've been pushed on everybody.
Yeah.
I think it has a shelf life, and I like to think that all of us who already know what's up will be able to communicate better, a little parrhesia, and be able to get people disarmed by just asking questions that are not political, not inflammatory. I think the better we learn to communicate, the better that the easier it is to turn people on to information they may not have seen, stuff where there's nescience, and we can get other people to think alternate perspectives. We definitely have the majority. I think this whole booster shot vaccine that they're going to be slamming down everybody's throat as soon as they try to get the rest of us holdouts is going to be a turning point. That and the poisoning of the children that don't need it, aren't affected. It's like,
you have good points here. My idea for you said this booster shot, and I want to point maybe that is it useful for us to jump into their game, like they will do this, do that, and us jumping into their game, it's maybe not so useful for us, because there is this saying in Poland that you don't start, you better don't fight with on words with the stupid person, because he will first take you to his level and then win because he have more experience in this. And in that way, in that way, I will be careful to like jump into the fight, the opposition, because these normal people who are everyday working, they just want to have peace, they want to have fun, they are using these new devices, the technocratic developments to like little childs, like we are, the broader society is just starting to recognize, yeah, maybe staring 12 hours into the screen or watching this loop of YouTube videos is not something good, and maybe we should step back. So people are learning, but when you have like big depressions or the times where the crowds will go on the streets and will start having riots, and that is something like people get hurt over there. So we don't really want that. So I think the putting the information, like you said, the taking out the excuse of nations, presenting this information in coolness, like peaceful way, just presenting it, maybe making some bulletin. It was the case in Poland that people done this. So there are, yeah, I would be careful into jumping into the fight. But yeah, you had the good point over there.
May Jonathan, I continue, if you don't mind, Marcin?
I don't mind. I welcome you.
Oh, thank you. Firstly, before I go on, excellent job of doing it live tonight. I really enjoyed what you said, and I had to think from Rob's points back to your original quote from Richard using John Galt there of his hyper-individualism. And as Rob was saying, we are ones that people are going to rely on, especially because of our skills that we're going to be learning from autonomy, the use of our personal excellence, making us better, being able to set the example of how to deal with each other through non-violent communication. People are going to start to look to us, and I personally feel an obligation that with those neighbours that I have around me, to put myself amongst them and be with my neighbours, and if they are looking for something, to then be able to help them, as I know that's going to, that it will help and benefit all of us in the local community. And so with the local community, if you are displaying your personal excellence that autonomy is going to give you, your benefits of autonomy, your autonomous nature, people will be asking you questions, and that's, rather than your answer, is your opportunity to listen for them. I'm still listening to last week's week 7 lecture, and it was brilliant, the way that Richard put forward of me needing to be one there to listen, absorb the person's thoughts, their expression of their problem, and then being able to empower them by asking those good questions. What are they going to do about it? What are their options? And I think largely today people are fearful because they don't have that plan of action. They realize that action conquers fear, but like the Milgram experiment showed, they just have somebody saying the experiment must continue to them. They're not being given that choice from they, them, the powers that be. And we need to be there within our communities, listening to them, helping, as Rob said, letting them understand they have a choice, they have options. And when they start to talk about what they think they can do, using the skills from autonomy, our interview techniques as well, we start to build with them their own personal plans of action. Those plans of action are the tactical level, getting other people further ahead. And hello, anybody from Round Donut Buildings who are listening. Those strategic level ones, we probably don't need. We need 1,000 little cuts to make the system obsolete. Those local communities making the big centralizations obsolete. That's what I'm hoping for, mate.
Excellent points. Thank you. Michael, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I will. And pardon me if the background noise gets in the way. I might have to mute at some point. But
it's all right.
You know, kind of jumping on what Bordy said there. You know, if we believe ourselves to be entrepreneurs, it's, you know, who we are is not just us. It's our relationship to other people. And, you know, essentially with an entrepreneur mindset, it is one in which we have to be able to listen. We have to be able to observe the people around us, the community of people around us, and be able to understand the value that we can bring to the table, and then the value that we can identify in other people. And it's through that communication and trust that we really are able to affect each other's life in a positive way. And certainly when it comes to like listening, for example, and really being in rapport with other people, that's really the basis for trust. And it is when we are in rapport with other people, when other people see that we understand where they're coming from, is when they're able to understand. You know, another statement that Rich made is, you know, people don't care what you have to say until they know you care.
Yeah. They will see then that we are not the enemy, that we are, hey man, I'm not attacking you. Yeah. So this way. Yeah. Excellent point.
But that is there's also something else going on here, and it's this kind of idea that what is technology is, and this kind of goes along with like whose narrative are we repeating? Because a lot of the technology is not in our favor. A lot of the technology is really created as an environment in which we're the naive ones and they're the masters. And so, yeah, like, as people have been moved from being in little towns and neighbors where they knew everybody and they knew everything about everybody and knew how to get resources and knew who could do what for who else, you know, and making those connections and having trusting relationships and also responsibilities, and really being able to understand like how we interact with other people and how important it is to live in integrity, to like going into cities and then into, you know, and having that circumstance where you can you know, do things and not know what other people are doing, and you know, that can lead to confusion and all the other things. But you know, as we've progressed through time and we've gone from living in towns and in an agrarian kind of lifestyle to city and modern industrialism and manufacturing, and now we're going to online, and then more than likely we're going into virtual reality, and you can certainly see how they're pushing people into this environment in which everything is artificial. You know, the relationships that we have with each other is becoming more artificial because we're not right next to each other. We can't see eye to eye. We don't have all the cues and senses that we had when we were, you know, right next to each other. And so we're going into an environment that is not conducive to who we truly are and who we've truly been prepared to be. And this is an environment that is is very treacherous, I think, or certainly could be.
I see
And
your
so
point.
we've got to be really cognizant of that. And then the other thing is like, what are we leaving behind? Because I think in a lot of ways, a lot of these technological leaps and the reasoning for technological leaps always seems to be these major crises that like push people into adopting new kinds of lifestyles and new kinds of social environments. We've got to be aware that these are not these are things that we should examine at length, and we should be really
For sure.
careful about understanding what we're giving up,
True,
you know,
true.
for what we're
And
getting.
yeah. Interesting things that you said, that we are the relationships at some part for the graduates of the student and people who will graduate. There will be course available for you from Derek Bros, which I started. It's really useful. The first easy question is, who am I? And it's really nice condensed. I would like someday see like maybe new take on that by Derek Bros. But he described this what is our true self and what is the self that is presented for others. And really what we want to do is get them together, and that is the part when we can achieve the integrity. So it's never-ending work. It's nice that we can do it. And the second thing that struck me a little bit was, okay, so there are these technologies, and we use different technologies for our endeavors. I am a craftsman, and I did work with wood a number of years, and at some point I started with machinery, like electrical engines, electrical engines, big saws to cut the wood. But at some point I reversed. I took the hand tools and I started to try to do the same work with hand tools, and I found it was quiet. My mind was like, there wasn't this big noise, this big dust. It's so that I know what is about the technology, and people bought the idea of tractors, the machines to process the land to grow food. And now we discover that you want to leave your soil untouched. You don't want to dig it up. There is this no dig culture of permaculture. So yeah, maybe stepping back a little bit is also good. But when someone will build a pool when I can swim, and will make those lines, what if I learn myself to go across, to go everywhere, just use this environment, but use my own path inside of this? Yeah, like I would like to jump inside into the pool, use it, have fun, swim, get some strength, flexibility. But maybe and this is also something that was in classroom chat recently, that there need to be some diversion, some stepping aside from the rules for us to evolve. Okay, who can I ask to maybe elaborate maybe and give ideas? What are other good ways for us to evolve and thrive, despite of the great points that we brought here, that learning by ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, and then participate into the world, and do it like in kind of a loop. When we participate, learn, fail, step back, assess, and then go back, fail, learn, success, learn, fail, success, and have fun with that. How would we, Jonathan?
Oh, thanks, Marcin. I was just thinking about the learning that we're probably going to do, certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, with more lockdowns coming ahead and vaccine mandates probably coming ahead. So I'm thinking of things like stocking up the pantry, making sure that the preparation stuff is going to be out there, and talking about it with my neighbors, you know, often jokingly rather than like a mad red-eyed prepper or anything, just making sure that, you know, if we're going to be locked out of our regular lives, we already started that communication of whereabouts can we go, and make it a fail fast thing, such as, oh, I was locked out of such and such supermarket, and somebody says, oh, there's no problem going to maybe the local farmers market or something. So I was thinking using the feedback loop of the local neighborhoods and the pending vaccine mandates and stuff that we're going to get here.
Are you have some news sources when we can learn ourselves about those incoming lockdowns?
I don't think I can do anything apart from read the tea leaves. You know, Austria is already implemented them. Germany is the trial balloons being put up now within the newspapers, as we've already seen some of the London-centric ones publishing newspapers about, you know, what's being done for vaccine mandates for Austria, the locking of people out of most of their modern lives, their ability to go shopping. We've seen that over in Lithuania with what they call the opportunity pass. I'd say that it is already decided that we're going to get it in the UK. Great to see pushback in Australia, whereabouts that's not worked. So we've got probably a couple of choices there, that we start preparing to enjoy being locked out, and maybe you know, get a bit of extra fizz in. And secondly is look to whereabouts your local groups and your protests are going to be. London for me, for everybody, whereabouts your local capital or whereabouts that's going to be. Make sure that you can get there and share with people good operational security, such as leaving your phone at home. Make sure you've got a very nondescript couple of changes of jacket and stuff, so that you're able to walk through the crowd. Make sure that you get halfway, you've got a change of hat, you've got you switch your grey jacket for a black one, stuff like that.
Whoa, that's
interesting. Yeah.
Good stuff. I was thinking food security, as far as, you know, it's good to have stuff on hand, but to be able to produce something in your own home and, you know, help neighbors with that kind of thing. So, you know, there's not a struggle for the resources. But I'll let somebody else go. I've already.
That's an interesting one, Rob. I think so. Blokes like me with a backyard that still have the grass there, rather than turning it over to a vegetable patch. I've missed the boat for this winter. One for everybody, just to let you know, I've done the convert over to US dollars, but I filled the car up today, and I put the diesel in, and it cost me over £100 to fill the tank. So doing conversions for you in the US dollar world, I was paying $7.62 for a gallon of gas.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, we can.
I was going to say, I take the silence as shocking.
Yeah. One thing I'd suggest is just, you know, having a healthy body and being trained to know how to defend yourself, whether that's, for me, I like martial arts, but, you know, other people are into gun training or maybe swordsmanship or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that idea that Richard is giving us, for us first to like make our stand and don't participate, and then be able to mentally self-defense, and in the last resort, when we are not able to escape, then go into the physical fight. But in my mind, it's still a little bit of struggle in because I have this warrior in me who want to fight and conquer the evil and make it stop right away now. But from the other side, I also know that me putting the fire into the place will only bring the fire, wood to the fire. Me bringing wood to the fire will only make the fire bigger, and I don't really see the place where I can just stand and observe fire, but maybe idea of me going between the fire and the person who is putting the fuel into the fire, with statement, I'm not allowing you to do that. Maybe I don't want to infringe your freedom.
Definitely don't be escalating conflicts, but it's more of being prepared for should the conflict arise, and feeling confident in your own ability, feeling confident in your body.
Yeah, so yeah, I think every conscious human being should be able to defend himself and close one and family, take care really. But it's like the weapon that I don't want to use, and like.
And I think you're right, Marcin, because the one thing that we do know is that them are ready to use violence, and they're prepared for it. So if they're providing this binary solution of submit or fight, and they can then use their overwhelming force, we have to create that gap between problem and reaction, that we take that time to think about it. And I do not accept your terms of contract. Thank you very much. I'm stepping out. And we go another way, and we go another way. Same as engaging with your boys in blue. If you've got them whereabouts they live in your local neighborhood, pay attention to where they live. If they're in uniform and on the street, I certainly know that they're tools of an oppressive state. I try not to engage with them.
Yeah, like you getting from the leaves this upcoming lockdowns. I get this, that they are just waiting for us to try to fight them, and they will, okay, so we got these guns, we're okay. And if we can sneak it out some way, like not give them chance to use that weapons, would be like maybe more smart thing to do.
Yeah, I think you're quite right there. You can see the way that it is pushing that these massive, ridiculous fines, life-changing fines. I think something in Austria, it's the equivalent of £1,200. For most Austrians, that's their after-tax month's wage. Most people, as you know from the United States, can't deal with a $400 bill without going into debt from their own savings. So you've got the individuals who are going to have what is going to be a essentially very damaging fine. And then for small business owners, up to, for Australia, some small business owners being fined $100,000. That's a life-changing fine that I think is unjust, but it's probably going to wind up with having that small business owner losing his house. And if you suddenly have a confrontation with the police that you're now going to be personally fined and you're going to lose your business, you've suddenly got this quick decision of they have removed everything of which you have now valued. They have basically done, if you remember the movie, The Outlaw Josie Wales, to you. They have just suddenly ripped everything from you. How are you going to react if you are suddenly the man who has nothing else to lose? And I have no doubt that them are more than willing to sacrifice a few of their frontline rosas and coppers to make sure that that makes some really good optics for the powers that be and justifies even more police brutality and separating those at the top end from those of us who are tax cattle.
Yeah. I think that's why it's very important to have food, because I think that's one of the driving forces they're going to try to use to get people out into the streets, where, you know, they can justify with their, you know, their propaganda, them using force against people, like the nonsense that happened in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. I mean, the fact that anybody can say with a straight face that that was an attempt to take over the government is just blind to reality. Like,
it was a good tourist day out. I'd go in.
People who you know, show up to take over the government, they come with guns.
Well, I would just add that, you know, it is, there's physical self-defense and there's intellectual self-defense, and I think the intellectual self-defense is really the infinity and really that intellectual prosperity that we talked about a couple of weeks ago in the Q&A. The idea that you know, our relationships are so important, because, you know, even in a circumstance where it's a total totalitarian regime, where essentially you are the slave, you are the proletariat, you know, there's been a myriad of examples throughout history. You know, the French Revolution, the you know, the beginning of the Soviet USSR, obviously China, and all the other communist regime takeovers, where, you know, millions upon millions of people either went to the gulag or to their death. That you know, there's always a situation in which a lot of people are losing their lives, and I do believe that much of the Western world, and certainly the United States in particular, is being put into a situation in which they're at each other's throats. You know, it is the divide and conquer kind of mentality. And certainly if you look at what's going on in the United States, you know, this latest court ruling has essentially suggested that, you know, people can defend themselves. And, you know, I do think that that's going to be turned into a narrative in which you're going to have a civil war, where the preppers are going to be against the government, and the government is going to be people that are very obedient. You know, I mean, look what they're doing. They're getting rid of all the people that disagree with what the government is doing. They're firing all those people, and the only people that are left are the very obedient. And those are going to be the ones that are enforcing the law. And you put them against the other side, which, you know, the kind of the other side being kind of the freedom-loving preppers. And to a large degree, when you're, you know, when people are starving and they say, "Oh, look at these hoarders over here. They're the ones that are hoarding all the food. We just you know, took out a prepper, and man, they had 10 years of food supply that could have fed a whole neighborhood. Look at how selfish these sons of bitches are," you know. And that kind of narrative is what they're capable of broadcasting. So I do feel like there are particular areas that are going to be much more difficult than others, but it still ends up being the relationships that you create with other people, because you can still have relationships with all the people around you, you know, and you can create the circumstance where if you're really good at listening and establishing rapport, you can go up against the judge, you can go up against a police officer, you can go up against you know, a violent situation and control it, you know, and really get to an outcome that's much better than, you know, trying to fight and just really, you know, kind of go down to their level and lose because they're more experienced.
Intellectual self-defense is brilliant, Michael, and I absolutely agree. How are you, by the way?
Doing well.
Sound good. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, or good day, depending upon where you are. Marcin, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for participating.
Yeah. So you guys have given some amazing insight and advice and techniques on how to thrive in an ever-changing world. Everything from Marcin, you telling us about Wim Hof and Yoga Nidra and the 9 clean sink breaths. And Rob, yeah, find like minds for sure, right? I mean, you're in the dirty jurors with me here. I'm not sure exactly where you are, but I'm up north right outside of Hoboken. So maybe we should try to do something. It's important.
Yeah, I'm down by Philadelphia. I'm between Philadelphia and Atlantic City on a map, right in the middle.
Okay.
Of it.
So it's a small state. It's not that far. Yeah. And also to your point, Rob, of having food and having food within your home to be able to share. One quick and easy technique and tip might be cabbages and doing fermentation. So fermented anything is amazing for your gut microbiota and just for general health. And then what's amazing about it also is that it stays. You just need to get the jars. That seems to be an issue right now. So whoever's making ball jars or mason jars is going to be king. And also, yes, Sporty, thank you for the preps and learning about our local people of who's next to us. And I appreciate the shared operational security, having a couple of changes of clothes and stuff. It's all smart, good, situational and awareness type of thing. And then Marcin, you also said something about, I just wanted to touch on this really quick. You had a metaphor of jumping in the pool when we were talking about technology. And that you just wanted to be able to, utilize the technology and,
Thank you for that, because there is a work of different people to bring something about this pirate box, which in my idea, I don't know where the work is. Maybe you can, in the minute, tell us, JL, about this, because I know you were on it with Thomas Friedman to working on this pirate box and having this mesh network that will allow, without censorship, encrypted messages between 3 people out there, which are not able to be interrupted. There is maybe this will be some advantage, and I think that like we do, like here we use Zoom call, we use YouTube to post, we use this technology and we got meaningful conversations. So we, the people, we are using these technologies like for our own use, for our own freedom, always. That someone is from upside pressing, like Michael said, putting out there to putting this technology, pressing on this technology to faster implementation. Don't look there, it's working. We will say it's working, they say, and we can see that we are tracked, that in databases we have our own avatars, and sometimes they use those techniques to really influence people, like put some pieces, because they study human beings for last 70 years, and the human being is the most studied animal on the planet. Like the species. So they know also how to use that bottom of the brainstem to direct people into the ways they want to have. And sometimes it's like QAnon, when they want to put people who have like they know there is something going, that they sense it somehow, so they want to participate in the change, and maybe this is bad idea. But they are going this QAnon and starting to chase their own tails, and this psyops things. And for me, it's like it's tools. So we really should be savvy customers, and see how the tools are working. So there was this in the beginning of the season, there was this talk between Joshua and forgive me, I don't remember his name, but young fellow entrepreneur who is preaching and evangelizing about this freedom, cell phones, the Googled phones, and this equipment that only knowing by this we can use this, not care or care, but we want to learn. We want to be in the process of learning to be able to swim around, to go where we want to go, and not to listen too much to the lifeguards who, oh, don't do that, don't do that. Yeah, I'm doing it safe. When I'm doing it safe, it should be okay. Normal people sense that when I'm having fun with my child and I'm throwing into the air, for example, people know that I have the capability to catch that kid. If I wouldn't have, the society, normal people would interact and would say, hey, don't do that, you're drunk or something, don't do that, you can hurt you and yourself and your child. So I really like idea of Jonathan and Michael, if I can bring it together a little bit like this, having these neighbors, like small networks around our houses, the people that we see every day, our neighbors, being able, like Michael said, to present the ideas, to paint them the broader spectrum of things. And maybe for the rednecks would be useful to advertise them more a little bit Grand Theft Auto, that they can have a different perspective and not be subjugated into jumping into the fight and shooting, and because we know what Rob, you mentioned it was this inauguration of Biden, yeah, that they say this was this.
No, it was the January 6th Trump rally in Washington, D.C., where they were pretending like
insurrection.
Yeah, the insurrection they call it.
Yeah. So basically, they will use that. Yeah. So they want preppers and other things to start shooting. That then they can blame them that this is their fault, only their fault. So the education.
That's how they make. That's how they define everybody as a domestic terrorist. You know, just little things like that, and they'll try to pull anybody who would dare speak out against the government and just gather them up into that group and just further polarize everybody, the divide and conquer. So.
And the great work of teaching us this is made by Autonomy Unlimited. Whom I want to thank here for providing opportunity to participate in autonomy course, for providing the opportunity to learn ourselves what is going out there in the world by watching Grand Theft World, yeah. So thank you Lisa, Richard and Josh for allowing us to really be here. The value of this course is priceless, but if it has a price, so it is a really great opportunity for all of us being here, for all of us maybe continuing the discussion about those topics, continuing to find solutions, help our neighbors, be better in communications, because we know we need to sell a better idea than those are selling, and that's why having understanding of what the sale really is very essential. Thank you, everyone. If someone want to say something, say hello to the wife or mother, or we will be there on the YouTube next week. I don't know if there is opening, if anyone wants to be the host of Do It Live podcast and bring their subjects. Just speak to Joshua Hale, and he will be excellent to providing you materials and the ways to do it live. I see there Hel is jumping in, so welcome you, Hel, here. El Borealis. How are you, El?
I'm gonna jump off. You have a great rest of your day. Talk to you on
Thank
Sunday.
you, Rob.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I just
Rob.
wanted to say thank you, Marcin. That was really great. I've been listening while I've been doing work and other stuff. And Dan, I came in a little late, but Dan Winter, I'm familiar with some of his work, so I look forward to speaking with you about that further, because yeah, some of it's above my head. I think I mentioned it to Thomas during our thing too, but yeah, it's really, really interesting, and I get a lot of it in the vortex mathematics, but no, I don't. Yeah, I can't do like mathematical equations and stuff like that and understand it, but the way that he explains it is really great. And yeah, just thank you for all of that, the solutions and everything. And then I forget sometimes that I did study permaculture and I know about that, and that's like a skill that I have that I don't have the ability to practice right now, but I could share that with others in different ways. And yeah, a lot of solutions. So it was really great. Thank you, Marcin.
Great. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your energy. And now you know that El can help you with starting in your background. Jonathan, there is always a good, you are never late to start planting. You can do it right now and have the plans for the warmer season. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
JL, you wanted to jump in? Jonathan, Michael?
No, just to say thank you, and this was excellent.
Thank you very much. So, thank you everyone for listening and being here. Have a great day and the rest of your lives, in case we didn't see each other, but hope we will. So I really like this tune, so on the end I will play it. Do it live. Thank
Very
you,
good,
everyone.
Marcin. Very good. You did a good job. I'm listening most of the time, so I think you did a great job. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for appreciation, Thomas. You step up the game, so I'm only trying to jump in.
Cool. Excellent. Ciao, everyone.
Bye.